Hello, students. Welcome to my, I guess, Unit 3 wrap up. So, things I saw this week that I want to address for the future assignments. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with the way things are headed. There are just some issues that have cropped up or are continuing to crop up that I want to address. So, I'm going to get started again. If I look down, I'm looking at my notes. All right. So, first thing, all right. So, when you abbreviate a term, so IB, International Baccalaureate, first spell it out, then in parentheses, abbreviate. So, I don't want to insult you, but these are things I'm seeing. So, I should have said that in the beginning that most of you, this may not pertain to everybody, but it happens enough that I see it and I want to address it. So again, International Baccalaureate, parentheses IB. Now, once you abbreviate that very first use of the term and you abbreviate, do not spell out the term again. I think that happens because you come back to your writing. So you do some writing and you come back to it and you maybe forgot that you'd already abbreviated, but you don't need to spell it out again. Use the whole term, even in different sections. So some of you, every time you start a new section, you spell out the word again. You don't have to do that. Just abbreviate it one time and then use the abbreviation after that. And that's true of when you abbreviate for a source. So if National Commission on Protection for Human Research Subjects, whatever that is, and then you put in brackets. So if you have a parenthetical reference or parenthetical citation and you abbreviate the term within the abbreviation goes in brackets, not just another set of parentheses. Okay. Let's see. I again want to reiterate, you are not conducting a study of any kind and you don't need to create fictitious results. So two or three of you have papers that say, I'm going to meet with the teachers, they're going to do a reflection, I'm going to give them survey questions, students, consent, all that. You're not doing any of that. So you're collecting secondary data from someone else doing a study. You're using their data to prove that your ideas are viable and should work in another setting. But if you have any language in there about something you are doing with anyone else, take it out. You can do that on your own if you want. If you're like, well, I'm doing this whole capstone thing, I'm going to conduct a study, that's fine, but it cannot be mentioned in your rationale or deliverable. Let's see. Okay, so sometimes I see, as stated earlier, the issue is going to be solved. Whatever. So don't make the reader go back. Just repeat yourself. So two things, as stated earlier, as I said earlier, sounds like it's a little scolding, like I've already said this once, but then also you don't want your reader to go, I don't remember what she said the issue was, so I'm going to have to go back and check. Just rewrite it. In academia, repetition is fine, even if it's paragraph to paragraph, because you don't want your reader, like I said, to have to take the time to go back and figure out, wait a minute, what was she talking about? I forgot. So don't say, as stated earlier, just repeat yourself. Okay. Okay. You cannot write from your opinion. So some of you are writing about your observations, or I had discussions with fellow teachers. That's okay. You can do that, but that's not going to support your ideas. Even if, in my experience, you can have 35 years of teaching and we value your experience, but if you're talking about evidence-based research, nobody's experience is valued as much as hard evidence. So unless you're an author writing about the results of some study, your experience doesn't matter. And if you read studies, the authors of those studies don't even talk about their experience. They might a little bit. They might say, here's why I did this study. But experience alone is not enough. You must use reliable sources to support your ideas. So if you think that this strategy to teach AI skills to teachers is going to work, you have to use a resource. Some expert out there has said, here's how you teach AI skills, right? Let's see. Okay, so in the first 2 weeks, I went literally word by word in your rationale and edited, particularly formatting, but I made notes and I said, I'm not sure about this, or please remove additional spacing, or whatever the story was. And there were a few of you who have made no corrections. So I don't want you to wait until Unit 8 to make those corrections, because you are going to be hard pressed if you wait till the very end to incorporate all those corrections, and then because you haven't incorporated them, you don't know what you did wrong. So you're seeing this in Unit 4. Hopefully in Unit 3 you made the corrections because I asked you to, but certainly from here on out, incorporate the changes. I'm not going to grade like that anymore. I'm just going to take off points in Unit 8 if there are a number of APA formatting mistakes, because you can't get published that way. And my name is on this paper, and I'm not going to release into the wild a paper that's not formatted correctly, at least somewhat. So please go ahead, incorporate those corrections now, and then do the work correctly from here on out. And if you don't understand why I'm telling you the comma goes inside the quotation marks, or spell out the number here, but don't spell it out there, either ask me, or more preferably go to APA style and figure out why I'm telling you to spell out the word or not. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. So boy, a lot of pronoun overuse. So there's a whole lot of this challenge came as a result, blah, blah. Okay, what challenge? I don't know. I don't know if you think it's the same challenge as me. So again, it's kind of the same thing as stated earlier. Just repeat yourself. So if you're saying this challenge or this problem leads students to whatever, what problem? Say the problem. Same thing with what's called an expletive construction. So this is why I, or there are plenty of times. What's this? What's there? Where's there? So be very detailed. It's a hard habit to break, to use those pronouns like they know what I'm talking about. Don't assume. And again, if you think, this challenge causes students to give up, are you and I talking about the same challenge? Because this is your paper. So if you want me to understand a challenge you're talking about, you need to tell me what that challenge is. So watch your pronouns. This challenge, or it. There's a lot of it overuses. It will become not it will become, but it will help students raise their scores. What's it? To what does it refer? To whom does it refer? So I can guess, but don't make me guess. Okay. Let's see. Links. In your references section, please provide a URL or a DOI, some kind of link to every electronic resource other than an ebook. Or the rule is unless it requires a login. I say, even if it requires a login, go ahead and provide the link, because I might have a login or the reader might have a login. Now, if you're looking at ERIC, don't provide UO People's library link. Provide ERIC's link. But, a whole lot of you are not including URLs or DOIs. And two things to that. One, when I'm grading your paper, I actually go check what you say. So if you said that Marzano said whatever, I go to Marzano and I try to find that information. Secondly, if I'm a reader and I say, ooh, that sounds like a good article, don't make me look it up for myself. So please provide a link to every resource other than an ebook. And the rule for APA is either to hyperlink all your links or none. So if you're going to hyperlink the first one, or whatever, one of them, hyperlink all of them. That's what I recommend. It's just easier for the reader. They just have to click that way. But if you don't want to hyperlink, that's fine, but don't hyperlink any of them. So all or none. All right, okay, so compound words, hyphens. All right, so think of this. I had a hot fudge sundae. Okay, did I have hot fudge sundae, or did I have a hot fudge sundae? So we use hyphens to connect words so that there's no, and I'm sorry, I've got a cat here. Okay, there we go. So we hyphenate words that are connected but produce one idea, like hot fudge or early reading. So example, I wrote down early reading instruction. Okay, is it early reading instruction, like 8 o'clock in the morning, or is it early reading instruction that of 4 and 5-year-olds? So APA style as well as Purdue OWL both have instructions on when to use hyphens. It's basically if you have an adjective and a noun, like early reading intervention or early reading intervention, or like I said, hot fudge sundae. Is it hot fudge? Yes. Or is it a hot fudge sundae? Is it fudge ice cream that's hot? No. So you need that hyphen just to clarify for the reader, so the brain doesn't have to go, okay, wait, is she talking about early reading, like 8 o'clock in the morning, or is she talking about first graders? Okay. All right, let's see. An abstract is not just another introduction. An abstract you write at the very end of your paper, because it is a kind of an executive summary for your entire paper. And there is special formatting, so you don't need to have an abstract yet by any means, not till the very end. That's why the capstone guide says write this at the end. But an abstract is not just another introduction. There is also not a heading introduction. Okay, on your first page, you rewrite the title of your paper and then you just start talking. So you don't need the title and then a heading introduction. You just need the title rewritten and then you start writing. Okay, but the abstract is on its own page and it is not written until the very end of your paper. Okay, let's see, last thing, ethics. So several of you said, well, I don't have any ethical challenges because this is secondary data and it's all anonymized. No, you could have ethical challenges from your deliverable. So if your deliverable is classroom management strategies, students might be harmed from your ideas, or teachers might feel bad because you're telling them that they're lousy at classroom management, whatever. There are always risks from products. So think more broadly about ethical challenges that could come as a result of your deliverable. It's not just related to student privacy. All right. So hopefully these things help. Y'all are doing well. I know these instructions are kind of, some of them a little confusing. That's why I do the unit previews. That's why I do these wrap ups. but you're doing well. I'm proud of you for getting this far, not giving up. Wouldn't do you any good to give up anyway, because you got to come back at some point, right? So I'm always here to help. I will absolutely have a Teams meeting this coming Saturday, which I think is the 3rd at 8 a.m. UO people time. I do apologize for not having one yet. I usually have one the first Saturday, and I can't remember what happened, and then the funeral and blah. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. As always, let me know how I can help.